Today we're studying percents, and our national standard for math says that we need to be able to convert fractions to decimals and percents and then use these representations in estimation, computations, and application. So let's get started. Now, what is a percent? Well, a percent is a ratio that compares a number to 100. Another definition is per 100. So a number per 100. Okay, so in fraction representation, if we use the number 25, we would say 25 per 100. That would be a ratio. Now, in decimal form, that would be represented as 0.25. In percentage form, that would be represented as 25%. Now, if you have a problem, and I've got 3 problems here, but if it tells you to write 25% as a fraction, okay, how do we do that? Well, we know it means per 100. So 25% as a fraction would be 25 to 100. Okay? Now, our second problem asks us to write a fraction equivalent to 1/4 and change it to a percent. So I would take my 1/4 and I would first find my equivalent fraction. So I know that it needs to equal 100 as the denominator. So I would figure out what I would multiply my 4 by to become 100. And that would have to be 25. So then I would also multiply my numerator by 25. 1 times 25 would be 25. 4 times 25 is 100. So 1/4 represented as an equivalent fraction would be 25 over 100. Now I can change that to a percent because I know percent means per 100. So that equals 25%. Now my last problem asks me to write this decimal as a percent. Well, that's my 100th place right there. That's my 100th place. So, to write this as a percent, I would move my decimal 2 places to the right, and that would be 0.26%. So it's less than 1%, which brings up another point about percentages. Okay, a percent can be between 1% and 100%, and that's most common. However, it can also be greater than 100% and less than 1%. So here's a couple examples. 200%. Well, how would we represent that per 100? That would be 200 per 100, or 200 as my numerator, 100 as my denominator, and that's a fraction representation of 200%. Now, if I have 0.3%, that would be represented as 3 per 1,000, because notice it's not even 1%. So that would be in the thousandths place indicated by this decimal, 3 to 1,000. Now, that brings up some math that we're going to have to do. Change the decimal to a percent. So if I have this decimal, I'm changing it to a percent, I would make 2 moves to the right, and now 2 moves to the right would be represented 13.4%. So from the decimal, you make 2 moves to the right, and then that would represent your percentage for this decimal. Okay, so that's how you find a percent from a decimal. Now, the next problem says change the percent to a decimal. So we're going to go backwards, change the percent to a decimal. So I would make, if my decimal's here, I would make 2 moves to the left. And 2 moves to the left would make it 0.25 decimal, and that would change a percent to a decimal. And remember, in a decimal, that place is the 100th place, and percents mean per 100. Okay, you're going to be given some practice problems today, and hopefully this lesson will help you with the problems that you'll face. Thank you.